think the rich dress to look elegant? You think they avoid logos because they're modest? Let me tell you something uncomfortable. Their clothes aren't about fashion, they're about hierarchy. They're not dressing for you, they're dressing above you. So you can feel the line you will never cross. Most people think wealth should be announced. Loud shoes, louder logos, gold belts, designer prints, flashy cars. That's the language of the masses. The new rich want to prove something. The true elite have nothing to prove. The elite don't dress to impress you. They don't want attention. They don't need applause. They aren't wearing brands, they're wearing position. The crowd searches for status in logos. The elite signal status in posture, in tone, in fabrics you wouldn't even recognize. Real status isn't a display, it's a code. And only those inside the circle understand the code. You stare at the storefront. They sit behind the glass, silent, invisible, superior. What if the richest person you've ever passed looked like just another man in a suit? It's not an accident, it's engineering. Their style is clean, neutral, unassuming, but never average. A plain white shirt? It took more hours to craft than your entire wardrobe. An unbranded shoe? Handmade by a craftsman who produces 30 pairs a year. A simple coat? Cut from a fabric so rare you won't find it in 10 countries combined. The outsider sees nothing. The insider reads everything. Minimalism isn't less is more. Minimalism is filtration. If you don't understand it, you're not meant to. The new rich overload themselves with brands hoping someone will notice. The elite wear one flawless, nameless coat, and it communicates everything. I don't prove, I decide. Luxury isn't what everyone recognizes. Luxury is what only the initiated can identify. People think fashion is self-expression. It's not. It's programming. You're given trends, not choices. Neon today, monochrome tomorrow. Oversized this year, skin tight next year. You're not choosing, you're reacting. The objective isn't your style, it's your consumption. While the masses replace their wardrobe 6 times a year, the elite speak a different language entirely. The size of a button communicates rank. The depth of a seam signals pedigree. The heel of a shoe indicates network. The texture of a fabric reflects hierarchy. This is coded fashion. They don't follow trends, they create signals. Here's the difference. The masses dress to belong somewhere. The elite dress to keep others out. Your logo shouts. Theirs speaks only to those who understand. Fast fashion is a cage millions wear proudly. Coded fashion is a locked gate, and the key is never for sale. People think luxury exists to dazzle. Wrong. Real luxury doesn't seduce, it separates. The wardrobe of the ultra-rich isn't loud or extravagant. It's sterile, homogeneous, invisible, because it is not meant for you. A cashmere coat with no branding. A jacket tailored by a nameless atelier. A shoe produced in quantities too small to track. These aren't garments, they're access codes. The outsider sees fabric, the insider sees membership. Luxury's true function is simple: to let one person in and shut out everyone else. For you, luxury is aspiration. For them, it's protocol. And that difference is brutal. When you walk into a boutique, you walk in with hope. Even if you pretend you don't. You want the piece, yes, but what you're really trying to purchase is proximity. You want to feel closer to a world you've been trained to admire. You want the shortcut, the membership energy, the illusion that fabric can upgrade identity. But for the real elite, luxury isn't a reach, it's a default. It's not a flex, It's a rule set. It's the way you dress when you don't need to announce anything and you're not trying to convince anyone. That's why the same item behaves differently on you than it does on them. On you, it looks like a statement. On them, it looks like paperwork, a quiet confirmation that they belong there without asking. You don't wear luxury the way they do. You use it. You use it as a signal to strangers, a badge, a receipt, a message. Look, I'm not like the others. And that's exactly the trap. Because the moment you're trying to send that message, you're admitting you're not inside. People who are inside do not broadcast it. They assume it. They move like it's normal. This is why logos are such a perfect consumer trap. Logos let you rent status for a few hours. You can buy a symbol that's instantly recognizable to millions of outsiders and still have zero access. It's the cleanest business model on earth, selling the feeling of elevation without giving any elevation at all. And here's the part that stings. When you buy luxury, you're paying for their world to stay closed. Because the most valuable thing luxury sells isn't leather, stitching, or design. It's distance. It's separation. It's the right to look down without saying a word. So when you think, I'll buy what they buy, you're already losing. Because what makes their look powerful isn't the item. It's the context. Their clothes sit on top of names, relationships, rooms, and history. Yours sits on top of effort. That's not an insult. It's just the reality of hierarchy. You can buy the uniform. You cannot buy the position the uniform represents. That's why imitation never works. You can wear the same coat, the same shoes, the same watch, and still feel like you're performing. Because you are. The elite aren't wearing clothes to become something. They're wearing clothes because they already are something, and the clothes are just the quiet confirmation. Luxury for you is aspiration. Luxury for them is identity management. You buy, they embody. What if the real elite abandoned the rich look a long time ago? What if true power stopped wanting to be noticed? Because being noticed is the beginning of being questioned. This is the shift most people miss. The public still chases the wealth aesthetic, loud brands, shiny icons, obvious flex. But the people at the top, they've evolved past that stage. They don't dress to be seen, they dress to become untraceable. The average eye searches for logos. The elite designs presence. They walk into a room in something neutral, clean, almost forgettable, and the room still adjusts. Not because the suit is magical, but because invisibility is a strategy. When you don't carry obvious symbols, you don't invite obvious judgments. When you don't look like a rich guy, you don't trigger the crowd's reflexes. You move through spaces without resistance. You get read differently. You get treated differently. And you can't even explain why, because the signal isn't visible enough to point at. That's why the most dangerous outfit is the one you can't decode. Because if you can't decode it, you can't mimic it. And if you can't mimic it, you can't infiltrate. Invisible luxury is not humility, it's encryption. It's the aesthetic form of operational security. Think about it. Loud luxury creates a trail. It's searchable. It's memed. It becomes evidence. It becomes a headline. But quiet luxury? Quiet luxury dissolves into normal. It doesn't generate screenshots. It doesn't create receipts. It doesn't leave the kind of social footprint that turns into public pressure. It's power that can't be easily framed, attacked, or mobilized against. And when your power can't be framed, it becomes harder to resist. Because people resist what they can name. They attack what they can point at. They protest what they can see. Invisible power slips through all of that. It doesn't argue. It doesn't defend itself. It just moves. So yes, you might look at their outfit and think it's boring, but boring is the point. The outfit isn't meant to impress you, it's meant to avoid you. To avoid your attention, your judgment, your assumptions, your questions. Because the more invisible the power, the less accountable it becomes. While you're deciding what to wear tomorrow, they're deciding which rooms will exist next year. Quietly, anonymously, without leaving a signature. And if that sounds dramatic, here's the reality. You can't fight what you can't identify. That's why they dress like they don't matter, while everything around them rearranges as if they do. Invisible clothing isn't fashion, it's camouflage. And camouflage is a power move. Have you ever wondered why elite style looks boring? Why there's nothing to imitate, nothing to copy, nothing to buy? Because it's not meant for you. It's not fashion, it's not trend, it's not style, it's a border. And while you believe that wearing expensive clothes gets you closer to the inner circle, they made that decision long before. You will never be a member. Because this isn't clothing, it's a barrier. And barriers never invite, they exclude. If this video made you think, if it showed you a world you always felt was real but no one ever dared to explain, then you're exactly where you need to be. Fake-off luxury isn't about admiration, it's about revelation. We uncover the systems the elite will never discuss and reveal what luxury really means behind the curtain. If you're ready to see more, subscribe, give it a like, turn on notifications, and stay with us. Because in this world, those who know the rules play a completely different game.